Okay.
Just say like, give us a countdown and then unmute, and then I'll take it from there. Unmuted. Hi guys, welcome to today's AMA. We have some interesting and kind of novel things to talk about that I think you'll appreciate. Actually, some of the things that people were asking about in the chat today will actually be addressed from a perspective of what's going on in the ecosystem, so it should be quite interesting. I'm going to first hand you over to Herman. He's going to welcome to today's AMA. We have some interesting the major updates, and then we can then proceed from there. So Herman, do you want to jump in there?
Sure. With. Once again, to my displeasure, and I'm sure all of you guys, the Unigate team, who I hoped would be able to join in an AMA this week, hasn't been able to coordinate an appearance today. I'm still quite hopeful that if not today, it'll be in the next few days. We'll try and make it as interactive as possible. We'll try and have the usual AMA sort of things, a quiz, some rewards perhaps. We'd like to incentivize people asking right questions for Unigate, which is a pretty substantive product, not the sort of when moon projects. I spoke about why Unigate is I think an essential missing element in the crypto landscape, enabling merchants, anybody really, to accept payments in a fully trustless and decentralized way. So we'll try to get that sorted as soon as possible. Another update is that we are in advanced talks with an exchange. I won't tell you guys which. While we do always keep in touch with most exchanges, as dynamics change, I would say I'm quite confident that I'm able to share that this listing is forthcoming. Don't ask where, don't ask when, but it goes to show that while not outward, the team is still hard at work for all of the various aspects of running a cryptocurrency project, including the most, maybe the less appealing ones, certainly for me, who appreciates more the technical aspects of things, such as getting the token listed on exchanges. Aside from that, I think I can also announce that Memento, a project I shared some information about last time, is going live. We are yet to coordinate with the team as to when, but their website is live. They're going to probably finish up a few things, probably get a blog going. I'm going to personally write a blog in the Trade Labs medium, explaining why we decided to invest in this product and in this team. As I mentioned last time, this is not a super crypto-focused product. It enables users to memorialize events as NFTs and share these NFTs with their loved ones or with participants, with people who attended that event. The audience doesn't entirely overlap with ours, so we do have that in consideration. But regardless, I think it's a pretty worthwhile product. I'll tell you more about it in this blog as far as what and how it fits, what I like about it, and how it fits in the broader Cherry ecosystem. And I'm sure they'll be very eloquent in describing what their product is and why you should buy it in their own media. That they should start publishing as soon as their product officially launches. But in short, I think it's great to see that finally, perhaps despite the ongoing market situation, which is still, it seemed like it was going to get better, but now it's not, that still our ecosystem is thriving. And for one, Unigate, that's been a long time coming. I've been telling you guys about Unigate for about 6 months now. They've done a really great job at, getting started with B2C or with B2B, onboarding a few customers first. They're very prudent and conscientious in how their release would go. They debugged the platform thoroughly, and I do believe that with this B2C alpha that they're about to launch, they're going to hit the ground running. They're going to start onboarding merchants or whoever wants to accept payments. Really, they can just connect their Unigate app, and start receiving any cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Monero, any EVM like Ethereum, Binance Chain, Avalanche, and many others, with great ease. And this is something that was missing. I think it's great to have. As I said, it's something that's missing, and it's useful. But more importantly, it fits very well in what we have planned and what we have in store for the broader ecosystem. And I'm sure many of you are aware, this is probably the main and most exciting things why I like to build networks and ecosystem is that each app within an ecosystem, within a network, leapfrogs on each other. Each app, by sheer network effect, by sheer interaction with the other applications within this network, gets hypercharged. There's no better way of saying it. Cherish alone is an excellent product. Cherish in an environment enabled by Unigate, enabled by Memento, enabled by Bunker is as good as Cherish was originally, and some. That's really exciting for me. And having all these teams independently working on essentially a concerted effort, which is to enhance and give new features and great stability to the network, really makes the whole network come to life, and any application within this network all the more valuable. So while it has been a long time coming, while it has taken perhaps a bit longer than I'd originally expected, I'm now starting to see everything coming into place. Cherish with its launch, that's now impending. Unigate, that has done fabulously with their B2B and now is moving on to B2C with a thoroughly debugged product that's production ready and that merchants can start integrating now. Memento doing their thing, and Bunkers probably releasing within this month as well. It's a pleasure to see everything come together and then interact among each other. Each of these applications building on each other's features. Let me see if I have anything else I prepared. I think that's it. Yeah, maybe I'll add that. I don't know if Owen was about to tell you about this. The Cherry University, the Cherry Labs University, that's an effort that we hold very dear. We are hard at work, and we believe we can get that launched. We have a very thoroughly written content. We have courses that are pretty top notch in the industry. I can foresee that being launched by the end of the week. Okay, that's it for me.
Thank you very much, Herman. Yeah, very exciting things. I think that our community will probably be able to join the dots on what commonalities these different ecosystem initiatives have in common, in that they are all focused on not just real problems within the crypto space, such as in the case of Unigate, facilitating payments within crypto, or with regards to Cherish, improving creators' ability to really own their content. The same could be said to a certain extent for Memento. The other feature in common that they have kind of written into their DNA is that they look beyond the immediate need. They satisfy immediate needs in the crypto space, but they go beyond to broaden the horizons of what cryptocurrencies and blockchain capable of interacting with in the wider economy, which is really what Web3 is about. It's about expanding, the horizons of what these things are used for. It's not just a narrow DeFi or payment paradigm. It's really, the intention is to expand the use cases of crypto. The fact that these separate projects are under the Cherry umbrella, so to speak, and that they're in our ecosystem is a very encouraging sign, because, as Herman said, not only are these initiatives expanding the reach of crypto, they are also cross-supportive, and they hypercharge, as Herman said, each other respectively. So that's very, very positive. Another point to echo is that these things have all been continuously developed and refined more or less to schedule. I think that we are among, if not most, time accurate project in crypto at the moment. Look at even the biggest platforms, there's been delays after delays, and that's because they are working on hard problems as well. So it's not to take away from their progress, but I think that we can congratulate ourselves that, we have our millionth block on the Cherry mainnet as of late last night. And we have all of these ecosystem projects that, despite the market turbulence, have continued to be worked on diligently. We still have improvements being made to the Cherry stack and the Cherry chain itself continuously. We have Seedling has been making strides in its offering to the Launchpad space. So despite, I think that things from the outside might seem somewhat demoralizing in the crypto industry, but within the crypto industry, within the companies themselves, and especially our own, morale is very high, and we're very, very excited. And we get up every day looking forward to all the things that we can hopefully get to do in any given workday. So that's a very positive update from Herman. Thank you very much. I'm going to move on. I think we have a couple of questions for you. One of them in particular caught my eye, was quite interesting. And it was a question from Ruchit. And Ruchit asked, based off the 4 types of ZK rollups as outlined by Vitalik above, so I'll just briefly describe. It's a compatibility and performance axis, and the different types of ZK EVMs. Herman's probably familiar with this, but I'll reshare this to the chat in case anybody else wants to see. And he asked, basically, Herman, he asked us, which one is Cherry likely to follow? And also, is zero knowledge definitely the better way, or is it over optimistic? So what kind of ZK rollups paradigm, the trade-off between compatibility and performance, how is that? How are you guys looking at that strategically in terms of focusing more on performance versus compatibility?
So it's nice. There was a nested joke in that question. I don't know if anybody caught it. Overly optimistic. Optimistic is a type of zero, or it's a type of zero knowledge proofing system that uses sort of optimistic consensus. I won't explain it, but I'm guessing the person who asked the question has a general understanding on the topic. I'm going to address the question. If anybody else has an interest in discovering more about zk relics, indeed, the Ethereum blog is an excellent starting resource. The Vitalik blog has, I think, the most comprehensive set of zk zero knowledge cryptography guides, and I'd suggest you go read that. It's a pretty interesting read. Now, zk relics have been traditionally collocated in this layer 2 realm, where transactions can be processed off-chain and then summarized and submitted into an on-chain block, where the submission can be somewhat verified by the on-chain nodes. The new state would reflect would be continuous to the previous on-chain state, and the operations that happen wherein the rollup wouldn't be entirely explicit on-chain, but would be verifiable and would be all checksummed, essentially, and summarized into this proof that's then submitted on-chain. Now, we have used this technology in the past. We've used bullet proofs in a previous project I've been involved in. We have a pretty extensive knowledge of this protocol called ZeroCoin. That's, I think, the first zero knowledge cryptography applied to blockchain. So we have a pretty diverse understanding of this. Romeo is an expert. I'm going to try and phrase and word my answer carefully, so later Romeo doesn't ping me and said total nonsense. There's Starks, there's Snarks, there's many other flavors. I don't think the flavors are that essential. In the case of Cherry, I think I'm going to answer it on a more practical basis. The decision was to adopt a Snarks-based zero knowledge rollup as a layer 2, much like ZSync on Ethereum. We've later shifted into a Polkadot type of scalability solution, where Cherry only really handles those node core functions and then delegates to other parachains, so essentially side chains. Other logic, not necessarily things that cannot happen concurrently to the main logic, for explanation, for processing there, for then resubmission into this consensus ceremony of the relay chain. The data stored is shared. There's a few very interesting properties of how Polkadot handles parachains and will inherit that all. I think ZK is a bit less relevant in that context, since many of the more complex logic that wouldn't make sense to build into either the node or deploy as smart contracts in virtual machines, because, for example, they need to be upgraded, or it's simply data that's too inexpensive, too uninteresting to be submitted and recorded as a state change on-chain. For these cases, ZK rollups still remain relevant. And for a more specific answer as to how the deployment will work exactly, I think we can publish the repository in which we published most of this, on which we submitted most of this work. I think it's private at the moment, but I'll make sure to clean it up and publish it. We shared some statistics. It is pretty complex compared to the as cryptography as a solution, as compared to what's already in action with like optimism on Ethereum. Our solution, though, is invulnerable to economic attacks, which is the main vulnerability to optimistic zero knowledge proofs, where nodes are incentivized to act against the system, given an economic incentive. And so, while it is more complex, while it is more secure, there will be a compromise in transactions per second and simple throughput. We stand by our initial projections of 10,000 transactions per second per ZK. I think it was 9,000 transactions per second actually, per ZK rollup per layer 2. So you can deploy multiple layer 2s in parallel. You would still have to have sequential states in each. So I don't know how about, there's also that to consider. You can't simply add the TPS and call it that. Altogether, the throughput of Cherry chain is limited. So there is still some constraints of sequential of having these states be sequentially confirmed and not as a DAG, all meshed and distributed and reconciled. That's another interesting solution, but I don't think we'll get there in the next 5 years. I hope I've answered the question. I've given more so than an answer the various considerations we're making. So optimism versus ZK rollups, snarks versus starks, complexity versus well, not necessarily throughput, but ease of submission of proof, and then degrees of vulnerability to attacks such as economic attacks that have already been perpetrated against optimism.
Thank you, Herman. That was very enlightening, and I think you probably covered that question pretty thoroughly. So that's great. I don't see any other questions at the moment at first glance, but if more come over the course of the AMA, then I'll be sure to tag them or tag you or whoever else should be answering them later on, as per usual. I'll move on to some updates on my own in terms of the university initiative, which Herman just referenced. Things are going quite well. It's going to plan. We have a couple of customizations to our platform that we're using that are forthcoming, and that will only take a couple of days at the most. So as Herman said, certainly by the start of next week, we can expect to have all of you guys getting stuck in to our university initiative. We've put a lot of thought into it. We've had some bright guys coming up with ways to convey all of the things that they've learned as insiders in the cryptocurrency, in the blockchain space. So that's quite exciting. We've also thought about how this should be laid out best to make the content as digestible and as flowing as possible It's going to look good. It's going to read good. There'll be a quiz at the end of every course. We're going to build it in an agile way, in that we will be adding gamification down the line in a few weeks, but the actual substance of the courses will be there already for you guys to get involved with, and it should be very fun. On that note, I've held off on sharing some of the content with the people who have very graciously offered to spend some time reviewing and testing our content, just because there was tweaks that were still being done. But I think in the next day or so, I'm going to shoot you guys some articles for you to review ahead of the launch, which will happen within the next few days as well. If you don't have time over the next couple of days or over the weekend to give any feedback, that's no problem at all. It's not an issue. If you can, then that's much appreciated. Aside from that, we had some technical difficulties with our job platform. Not our fault at all. It was, I won't go into the details, but unfortunately I wasn't able to make the internship positions application forms go live yet. I'm actually going to set up a countdown after the AMA in the Telegram group to when we will be launching that. I am considering tomorrow hosting a very small, just me, myself, and I, telling you guys about some of the things you should keep in mind if you're applying to this program or others, or jobs in general within the crypto or Web3 space, and more generally, just any kind of career in tech. Because a couple of people asked me for that, or they've been asking me for a lot of questions, tips and tricks, and do's and don'ts. So I might have a quick 30-minute call with you guys here in the chat on Telegram. Tomorrow. So that should be quite good. But yeah, if you have your CV at the ready and you're waiting to apply for the internship program, it's a good time as well, because we're finishing up with the summer, unfortunately, and we're coming back into this year. So it's a good time to get involved with the project. We actually have had 2 people already graduate from the intern level to become, trainees or full employees of the company so far. So it is certainly something that is not just a standalone thing, but it's a good opportunity. It's a good entrance into the project if it's something that you'd like to engage with more. We've had very, very positive successes with the interns that we've brought on so far. So we're looking forward to hopefully getting to know some of you guys in a professional context in the next few days and weeks, when we start to look at who might be good to bring in the first cohort of interns. So I'll discuss more about that later, tomorrow, and then the actual platform itself, the application, will go live this evening. I would not suggest that rushing to get your application in is in any way beneficial whatsoever. We are quite busy, and furthermore, it's not a first come first serve situation. So please take your time, consider the instructions and questions carefully, and just put your best foot forward. There's no need to hurry off with an application in, when you might be able to represent yourself a little bit better after taking some time on that. Another thing that I wanted to mention, which was discussed with people in the Hype Squad the other day, is that we are beefing up our interaction with community-led marketing. In particular, an initiative was started by one of our long-term and very talented community members. He's a professional marketer, and he has some great insights and great ideas for how to spread the word of the Cherry vision. I mentioned a bit about this the other day, but we're going to kick that up into gear and assist him in however we can, and the other people, you know who you are, who have helped with their own kind of third-party marketing on our behalf. We're going to deepen our ties with them, and over the next week, probably by next Monday, you'll start to see a lot of content flow from that direction. So that's quite exciting as well. We have there was a small issue with a couple of the prizes for the quiz. I think there's an issue with my with my Trust wallet instance that for some reason some prizes weren't distributed and they bounced back, so to speak. So later on, I'm going to do a run of all the outstanding prizes that are yet to be distributed, including the ones from the quiz, which will be held at the end of this AMA. If I ever stop talking, if we ever get there. Okay, so that's everything from my end, more or less. I'm sure there's something I forgot, but it's not that important. We'll go to Diego now because Diego has some interesting and more important things to share with the community. It's a very exciting time for Seedling, so I'm sure he has good news for us as always. Go ahead there, Diego, please.
Hello, guys. So first thing I wanted to say, and probably the most interesting thing today from the Seedlings perspective, and as advanced information for the people here, is that we will 100% announce another project in around 2 hours time. Most of you should know which project I'm talking about. We distributed a poll to see if you guys were interested. The acceptance rate was quite good and interest, and therefore we wanted to give you guys the opportunity to get in and profit from this investment opportunity. The launch date of this project is relatively soon, and we have a very early investment opportunity, which is not a usual thing, but Seedling team has managed to get hold of this opportunity. The Seedling research document will be shared as usual, and you will be able to see who is behind this project. We will also be reactivating very strategical marketing very soon. I'm not sure how much information we can display on this subject, but I wanted to let Seedling community know that we have not forgotten this aspect. Now that for the last, say, couple of weeks or months, the market is kind of holding and supporting and kind of working lateral, we can take this as a chance to work on more external things for the community. Obviously, this does not mean anything, and I'm not going to predict what's going to happen in the market. It's always interesting to know. We have also focused on the last week in ameliorating certain parts of the documentation for an update on certain parts of our Git book. We believe that this will solve most of the questions asked on a daily basis on our group chats, which takes me to our next point, which is the Cherry University. As mentioned by Eoghan, our educative initiative in which Seedling is actively participating. We're quite close actually to having our first substantial version of this initiative, which will also give a lot of information about pre-sales and launchpads, which is a missing element in the current educational crypto space. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is I wanted to get some feedback from the community on the recent changes in Seedling regarding more on the activity side. I will soon, probably after the next project sale is completed, somehow maybe a form or some informal way for the most loyal seedlers to have an opportunity to talk to the team directly, both through text-based tools. As I said, maybe a form, even though I'm not a great fan of forms, or schedule quick 5-minute calls with some of you directly if you want. So you guys can express your opinion and even to give some voice to the community's vision. Sometimes from our side, as the professional building point of view, we don't see from the same perspective certain things, and this can be solved this way. So I actually have learned and slightly tweaked certain things and gave importance to certain things and priority by listening to you guys, for example, after the Sevilla meetup. So yeah, that's cool, and you're probably happy for that. And that's all, guys. So yeah, stick to Seedlings chat for the next 2 hours, which will probably announce a very important project and opportunity for you guys. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Diego. Yep, lots being done behind the scenes at Seedling, which will come to fruition and be revealed in the next few weeks, including today with this cool project that we're very happy to see on the Seedling platform. I think with that in mind, we'll jump forward to Marv. If Marv is there, I think he has a brief kind of update to give us.
Yeah, I'm right here. Okay,
Shoot.
Thanks for having me once again. I'll just give a couple of swift updates about Cherish. Right now, we are still heavily and full focused into development phase, which is progressing quite nicely. While we're doing that, of course, other stuff needs to happen as well. We need to populate our platform, get feedback from our creators, and really position ourselves in the social media sphere. And we feel like we're doing a really good job at that. And one of these efforts that we've been doing over the last week, we've rolled out a creator education track where we will be educating our creators about how our platform will work in conjunction with other systems that we've created. So basically, we're trying to teach everybody how Cherish was designed and the architecture of Cherish, so that they can better understand what to expect on launch and how that they can maybe adapt their content and their way of presenting their creativity to our platform. Although we want them to be as creative as possible in any case. So that's very good. We'll be taking the information that we've been giving to the creators and coring it into a bit more of a fuller format for you guys sometime after the release to the creators, so that you guys can also understand all the decisions and design choices we are making in the back. That's pretty much it for Cherish. We've been onboarding a bunch of new people. I hope to present them to the community as soon as possible. And we're really excited for the people who are coming on board as well. So that's pretty much it for me from Cherish. And I'll hand it back over to.
Thanks, Marv. Everything is quite positive and exciting on the Cherish end as well. And we're looking forward to showing you all of our hard work. It's kind of a, I wouldn't call it coincidence. It's just the way things happen, that once the mainnet went live, that affords developers a certain amount of time to build what we've been planning to build for months or longer. So the fact that Seedling is making all this progress while projects like Memento and Bunker and Unigate and the Cherish full version are being released, it's a very positive time in the wider project. So yeah, we're very lucky to be to have a front row seat for this kind of exciting period when the rubber really starts to hit the road here. So thank you very much, Marv, and thanks for all your hard work. I think what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the quiz itself now. I believe that John has some pretty cool questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a quick look at the questions themselves. Oh, we actually have another question. Diego, I've seen some exchanges interested in listing Seedling. Can we expect something soon?
Yeah, so obviously, so we are speaking to exchanges on an active basis, and they're actually offering their services. We have yet to find the correct exchange and centralized exchange for Seedling. As of now, since we are a quite small altcoin, we are not actively looking to list in any exchange that will not provide the correct marketing opportunities for us to actually get a positive impact from the listing of an exchange. So yeah, but we are definitely like happy and looking forward to looking the perfect exchange for Seedling that will compensate in marketing for the future growth and accessibility of the token.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you, Diego. I think we can move on. Assuming my mic is on, yeah, it is. Okay, I think we can move on to the quiz now. I think John, and thank you, John, for handling the audio-visual aspect of the AMA today. It's gone off without a hitch. Whereas Marv usually did it, we're kind of making sure that we have enough skilled people on board who know how to run the AMA, so that if someone isn't available, that we'll always have someone else to hop in at a moment's notice to help out. So thank you for that, John. If you could freeze the chat and start adding questions, then we can get the quiz underway.
I suggest we maybe shut down the AMA here, since YouTube has quite a long delay.